Hi guys, Yowie Chaser. Alright, today we have a sighting from Girraween National Park. This is going to be interesting. Alright, so actually, sorry guys, it's not really a sighting, it's more of an encounter. So these young girls were sleeping around here. Okay, I'm just going to show you where they were and show you how they were sleeping so you get an idea. Alright, so this is the tent setup. This is the lady who's telling the story in the red here. That's where she was. This is where all sightings should be set up. This is great, really good setup. Now, the reason I'm gonna read this out, guys, is I've been accused of a lot of stuff on a certain group. I run two groups actually. So I'm going to read out because the person that sent in this sighting, I was in my group now and posted this sighting, is actually good friends with this person. So I just want to read this out. This is what they said about me. He plagiarizes both our reports and those of others, labeling them as his own and news just in. He steals reports, changes them a little, and calls them his own. The guy is an embarrassment, not only to himself, but also to the legitimacy of true research in this country. He is nothing other than a charlatan, a hoaxer, a fraudster, the same thing. He should be ashamed of himself. Wow. Do you reckon he likes me, this guy, or what? So we'll go on and read it. It's really set out really well. Okay, so new member. So as promised, my story from 1976. Year 1976. This is how everyone should set them out. Age at time of experience 11. The location Girraween National Park, Girraween, New South Wales, Castle Rock Campground. Time of year spring, so September, October or thereabouts from my memory. The weather condition was fair, no rain, moon cycle unknown, no wind. Place of experience, school camp inside a tent with 3 other girls my age. Alright, so this is Girraween. Yowie encounter, we'll call it, because it's not actually a sighting as such. Spring 1976, my primary school had offered students a 5-day camping event at Girraween National Park in Girraween, New South Wales, which is just over the Queensland border, halfway between Stanthorpe and Tenterfield. The park covers 45 square miles, 117 kilometres square. It was September, October, and we had been told there was a lot of wildflowers and animals in the region. Girraween, meaning place of flowers, contains many massive granite outcrops, tors, and precariously balanced boulders. We arrived at camp site in a hire bus, which set us down right at the campground. And our first task was to put our tents up before lunch. I was to share my tent with 3 other girls of my age, P, T, and S. We arranged our tent so the smallest girl was at the head of the tent, and we 3 others lay in formation as shown in figure 1. The first few nights were uneventful, but on this particular night we'd been told we were going to spotlight and hopefully see a nocturnal animal like possums, etc. Let's go and have a look at something. Alright, so here's the tent set out. This is the lady telling the story. This one here, she was in trouble. She wouldn't have been able to get out. They would have all squashed her. Alright. We'd been following our lead teacher along a pathway around the campsite with him holding a powerful torch, so I don't recall us seeing much, and we were back in camp by 9 p.m. We had a hot Milo drink and then turned in for the night. The tent I was in was one closest to the edge of the campground and the bushland encircling it. I have worn glasses since I was 5, so after I turned in, I put my glasses next to my pillow so they would be safe up against the wall of the tent, which was on my right side. We girls talked a little, then went to sleep, as we'd done the previous nights. At some time during the night, I didn't own a watch back then, I remember very clearly hearing footsteps moving outside the tent. It was dead silent otherwise, and I initially thought it was one of our teachers doing a check of us all before they too went to bed. The steps were very clearly and close, and right by my side of the tent wall. I could hear solid thumps of tread of whoever it was, but again, explain it always being Mr. W, my rather stout teacher, doing the rounds. When the footfalls stopped, something put the wind up me. Whatever or whoever it was right beside the tent, and I smelled something that made me think the teacher outside had farted. It stunk, and I could smell it from inside the tent. I couldn't understand why a teacher would pause outside our tent for so long, and I admit my heart was racing. I also started to think maybe it wasn't one of our teachers after all. Was it? What if it was someone with intent on their mind? But this was the middle of nowhere, not somewhere people would normally be walking around at night. There was a single light in the entire camp area. Remember, this was the 70s. I was wide awake by now, and I put on my glasses. Even though it was night time, there was enough dim light from the moon to see the outline of the tent above me. The other 3 girls in my tent were still asleep, but I was getting more nervous about whoever or what was outside. Then, as I was concentrating on listening, lying on my back and looking up at the roofline of my tent, something began pressing the nylon down, and I could clearly see what looked like indentations like fingernails around the perimeter of the part being pressed inward, not sharp like a possum claws, blunter. I watched the roof of my tent being pressed further and further down, and I panicked. I screamed at the top of my lungs and scrambled to get out of my sleeping bag, shuffling backward right into the feet of S, who was lying above my head. I was freaking out, trying to get away as far as possible, which of course, along with my screaming, had woken my 3 tent mates. A minute or so later, a teacher came running to find out what had happened. After describing everything to him, he told me I had probably been dreaming, but I vehemently denied that. I'd seen it, and I'd never had a dream that caused me to wake up screaming, and haven't to this day, 40 years later either. After the hubbub died down, everyone went back to bed, but I lay there for a long time, scared out of my wits in case whatever it was returned, but nothing further occurred, and I eventually fell asleep again. The next day, each of my teachers spoke to me, but none of them admitted to being on duty the previous night, and none of them had come into the campground to check on us. They were sleeping in their own area and slightly away from our tents. Kids seemed to recover well from weird events, and I was fine when no reoccurrences eventuated, and by then we were due to return to Brisbane. It wasn't until about 3 decades later that I read something by another person about Yowies fiddling with tents, probably trying to figure out what the heck they were. It was like a light bulb went off in my head, and it brought it all back. The heavy tread, the smell, the pointed fingertips, long nails, and my absolute horror of seeing the roof pressed in closer and closer to where I lay. Man, that would have been seriously scary. I could imagine what was going on. You know, when you're a kid and you hear noises in your house and you just sit there and you freeze, eh? You go, oh no, something's going to come in the room. I can remember that. That would have been freaky. You know what I reckon's happened? I reckon why you used to walk around the bush with that light, it's probably actually stirred up a Yowie. And then, I don't know why it chose you, but it's actually like, this is my thinking, and it's just, I don't know, followed you back, or it just chose your tent. I suppose it had to choose one tent, it just happened to be yours. So it's a pretty cool story. We actually went out there. When we went there, there'd been a massive fire going through that area. We didn't really, I remember seeing the fires, but we were just driving around, camping. He was only about 8, I think. Anyway, I remember there's a creek here. I remember walking across like there must be like swimming holes, but all the water had really dried out of it. We didn't even know where we were going. We were just walking around, but we ended up walking up to here. There's like a tree and stairs, rock stairs. I'm not sure where we got to. I don't know if we were going up here or if we were going up this side. I don't know. We were going up one of them. We were nearly at the top. We didn't have far to go, but it was steep. Anyway, I had my hiking thongs on, and I got rid of them because I thought they're going to snap soon. That's how steep it is. It's like you're going straight up a wall that's over on an angle a little bit. And then I had my grandson. I thought, oh shit, I better turn around. His mother will kill me, man. Gutmans. The thing is, it's very painful to get to, and we were right there. But yeah, we never made it to the top. I don't think I could make it now either. I was a bit fitter back then. Gotten very lazy lately. Anyway, alright, so that's the sighting. Pretty crazy, pretty full on. Like that would have been very freaky. So it's probably better you didn't see anything, because who knows what would happen after that. What tricks your mind can play. Alright guys, that's probably about it. Alright, so if you're on Facebook, I've said it before, this is my group, Yowie Sightings Australia. Go join that group. Share your sighting in there. Or go to Yowie Chaser Facebook page, and you can message me there your sighting, guys. It's up to you, but if you go in here, there's hundreds of sightings in there, and they're all mixed all through the group, so you got to go right through them. Alright, so that's that.